The great terror of the ancient gods, the arrival of the world destroyer in the form of an atomic mushroom cloud. This is how the dream of 19th century modernity ended. A dream that saw in the advancement of science the inevitable liberation from the daily sufferings that have weighed on humankind since the dawn of time. Nick Land argues that capitalism is a self-reinforcing system fueled by its own everyday dynamics, which permeate consumption, production, and all social interactions. Within this system, nothing can escape the reinforcement of the apparatus as a whole. This premise stems from the idea that every small decision is linked to production, to the commodity. Therefore, the development of capitalism is tied to interactions, and interactions advance thanks to technology. In this sense, Nick Land asserts that we must rid ourselves of all the moral constraints that create problems and hinder this autonomous development of capitalism. By eliminating these moral and ethical boundaries, the development of this self-reinforcing abstract intelligence will be propelled, ultimately leading to a final singularity that will guide us toward a post-capitalist society, leaving behind the sufferings of our time. In contrast to these ideas, another author, Benjamin Noyes, criticizes the concept of accelerationism in his work Malign Velocities, Accelerationism and Capitalism. He argues that increased speed does not lead to the collapse of the system, but rather to more sophisticated forms of exploitation, domination, and control. This tendency to accelerate, this tendency to optimize the dynamics of capitalist exploitation through technological advancements and the increasing sophistication of social networks that permeate the entire system and provide cohesion, ultimately culminates in an aesthetics of collapse, where political action is replaced by passively awaiting a collapse that never comes. The virality of Charlie Kirk in Agartha, the memes about the current Iran war, or the memetic reaction to the death of George Floyd, or the repressive actions of ICE, are examples that acceleration is not a problem for the system. It is an unstoppable trend, a drive that will ultimately lead to that longed-for singularity which, contrary to Land's argument, will not culminate in a new post-capitalist order, but in a post-human hypercapitalism. On this path, one of the first things to be sacrificed will be precisely the individual. The human, then, in this context of inevitable acceleration, is seen as a bottleneck that must be broken. The crisis of capitalism, the acceleration that will lead to the singularity, according to Nick Land's model, will also sweep away that which identifies us as individuals, since for that point to be reached, moral boundaries, ethics, and control over the conditions of capitalism will gradually disappear. Finally, when it is already too late, we will realize that what lies behind the singularity is the posthuman society, the world destroyed by the cybernetic god, fueled by the false technological prophets. Subscribe and ring the bell before the American dream comes to an end.